Hi! During our earlier episodes, we have discussed how to shoot and how to properly use various ordnance of your aircraft. But how you choose to apply this knowledge in actual combat is an entirely different topic. Today, we will teach you some basic tactics of air combat in the arcade mode of War Thunder. The action in arcade mode is fast, gunfire is heavy and thick, down players constantly respawn, and the battle is at its hottest. It is nigh impossible to achieve total air supremacy, as arcade mode's battle is determined by how fast teams can destroy ground targets first. Though there are general principles that you can follow and be a benefit for your team. You'll also live longer too. The tactics of basic fight maneuvering go like this. You approach a formation of enemy planes and then engage convenient enemy targets. If you have already mastered the art of precision firing from our previous tutorial, if your reaction time is decent and your eyes serve you well, then you have all the chances of taking down a lot of enemy targets. The obvious drawback of this approach is this: regardless of how many enemy planes you down, you are unlikely to stay aloft for long. Therefore, it is crucial to learn how to split your attention. You have to be able to keep track of your radar, what's on your tail, and what's ahead of you. Always try and attack from higher altitude. This will give you time to zoom in towards your next target. Do remember though, not all planes are good for this. For example, a light and nimble Japanese Zero is better suited for high-speed dogfight than a heavy and clumsy US Thunderbolt. Always try and pick your targets and the order in which you want to attack them right when you start your approach towards the enemy. Your best bet is to destroy your target on the first pass, then, if you fail, switch to the next target in the order that you decided previously. This way, you won't lose yourself in the maelstrom of battle, and you will be able to maximize the effectiveness of your aircraft. Let's take a look at how to best apply these tactics in virtual combat. The battle begins on the Berlin suburbs map. The game mode is Ground Strike. To win here, you'll need to destroy all enemy ground vehicles, but we're going to be taking on enemy aircraft instead, and our first target will be this American attack aircraft, the PBJ. A solid rocket volley with a slight lead. Target destroyed. On the right, we see numerous enemy contacts, so it would be wiser to evade to the left and wait for reinforcements. The spatial approach might also yield additional benefits if enemy planes decide to drop lower. We now have a new target, this P-400. The enemy just made a big mistake. He separated from his team and will now be forced to fight alone. Even though we failed to destroy him, our ally finishes the job. I hope this was a good enough example of how to act in arcade mode. The enemy Thunderbolt. This is a solid plane indeed, but quite clumsy. Now we need to break off from our enemy, then we do a loop and prepare for attack. We approach the enemy, which just failed to spot us, and is now making a maneuver right below our crosshairs, thus exposing his flat side to us. It is vital to keep an eye out during combat, but it seems that our enemy forgot the simple but important rule. An enemy courser is dropping down on us from above. Now this gets interesting. First, we should dive below the enemy, then we break our trajectory twice to confuse him a little, then we do a loop. The enemy just flew past us and we decide to counterattack, but unfortunately our speed is too low, so we're forced to dive to get some extra speed. Our enemy is preparing to do a split, but we're quick enough to notice this and cut our engine thrust in response. Enemy is hit! The enemy courser has a pretty serious fire going on inside and will likely go down in his zone in a short while, but our bloodlust must be sated, so we pursue our enemy and fire a volley of rockets. Now that's what I'm talking about. Here's another enemy who ignores basic rules of combat and also ignores the vicinity around him, allowing us to easily tail him. That was an easy frag to take. An enemy lightning appears. What do we do? Oh yeah, right, rockets. Now a real dogfight begins. Only the toughest and the most accurate fighter will survive this one. We use an upward spiral maneuver to deny the enemy Messerschmitt a chance to attack. Good, now we can drop down and take him out. Well, better luck next time. Nonetheless, we did great. 8 kills with Yak 7B in a single sortie. Not every player is meant for such fast-paced combat, of course. Certain players prefer slower battles and a more measured approach to warfare. To be fair, these players do no less benefit to their team. Steadier pilots can stay alive long enough to hit the enemy where it hurts. They can, for example, target single enemy bombers that stay away from the main brawl and chip away at our ground targets. If you play like this and avoid early combat, it would be wise to climb to a higher altitude, stay away from the fury of the main dogfight, whilst looking for lone targets. Your priority targets should be bombers and only then all other single aircraft. After the attack, retreat to a safe distance, climb higher, and repeat it all again. This might not look as spectacular or heroic as our previous approach, but this will help you keep your aircraft in one piece longer, and what's even more important, get a clearer picture of the entire battle. Don't forget that if you play using the hit and run tactics, then you need a suitable plane. You can sacrifice maneuverability for higher speed and heavier armament. An ideal aircraft for this would be the American Mustang or a German Focke-Wulf T-13, perfect planes for a patient and a ruthless lone wolf. Of course, no battle can be decided only through effort of individual pilots. We have recently talked about how to play in squads with your friends. Now, let's review some of the tactical benefits offered by a squad. A presence of a well-coordinated squad, in aviation such a group is normally called a flight or an air section, can dramatically influence the overall battle. A good wingman can spot someone tailing you, or you can combine your efforts towards a common goal. In order to better coordinate in a squad, any kind of voice communication is vital. You can use third-party software such as RaidCall or TeamSpeak, or an in-game voice chat, which can be especially useful as it will display who is talking right now using the game interface. It also pays off to have a solid and dependable code system in place. You can indicate a certain heading or direction using a watch face. For example, a short and simple phrase such as "you're 6 o'clock" or simply "you're 6" can be a rapid and effective way of telling your friend that he has a bogey on his tail. Or "two contacts, 3 o'clock" will mean that you see two enemy aircraft directly to the right of your formation. You can also add their altitude to the code. While playing in a formation, you will have to keep an eye out not only around your own aircraft, but also be mindful of your teammates' surrounding vicinity. By telling him "on your 6" can give a much needed time for an evasive maneuver. Never try to outplay each other. Yes, sometimes it is fun to compete to see who can shoot down more enemies, but never attack one enemy with 3 allies when you just need one to take him down. It is better for each of you to pick your own targets. This is how you will do more good for your team. Always try and stay close to each other. The closer your wingman is, the faster you can both react to threats. Remember this, even a single air section can do more than the rest of the team combined, if they're well coordinated, of course. Good luck in the skies.